It was a bright and cheerful morning in Enchancia Castle. The chandeliers sparkled, the maids bustled with fresh flowers, and Chef Andre's famous cinnamon buns filled the air with delicious scent. Princess Sofia twirled into grand dining room, humming happily. "Good morning, everyone," she said, plopping into her seat beside her stepbrother, James. King Roland looked up from his newspaper with a smile. "Good morning, Sofia. Did you sleep well?" "I did," Sofia replied cheerfully, just as she reached for the platter of sweet rolls and accidentally knocked over a cup of juice. Splash! Orange juice spread across the pristine white tablecloth. Amber gasped. "Sofia!" she exclaimed, dabbing her dress with a napkin. "You must be careful. Princesses don't make messes at breakfast." Sofia's cheeks flushed pink. "Sorry, Amber. It was an accident." Queen Miranda smiled kindly. "It's all right, dear. Accidents happen." But as Sofia looked around the table, she couldn't help noticing the difference between her and her royal family. Everyone sat perfectly straight, spoke softly, and knew exactly which fork to use, while she just followed her heart and hoped for the best. That's when Bailiwick cleared his throat gently. "Your Majesties, if I may, I believe today's luncheon with the Duke and Duchess of Dorsia will be an excellent opportunity for Princess Sofia to practice her royal etiquette." Amber smirked. "Oh, perfect. My little sister could use a few pointers." Sofia glanced at her mother, uncertain. "Do I really need special training for lunch?" King Roland chuckled. "It's not just any lunch, Sofia. The Duke and Duchess are known for their refined manners." Sofia gave a tiny sigh. "Guess I'll have to learn fast." Later that morning, Sofia hurried to the royal etiquette room, a golden chamber filled with mirrors, fine tableware, and elegant portraits of Enchancia's past queens. Waiting for her were Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, her fairy teachers from Royal Prep Academy. "Good day, Princess Sofia," Flora said cheerfully. "Today's lesson, the art of royal etiquette." Sofia straightened. "I'll do my best." Fauna smiled warmly. "That's the spirit, dear. Remember, etiquette isn't just about rules. It's about kindness and respect for others." "Still," Merryweather added, conjuring a tea set with a wave of her wand, "it helps to know which spoon to use." The next hour was filled with lessons. Sofia practiced sitting tall, placing her napkin properly, sipping tea without slurping, and curtsying gracefully. It was going well, until the tea set came alive. A mischievous swirl of magic from Merryweather's wand caused the teapot to wobble and the spoons to dance across the table. Sofia laughed, reaching to catch one, but tripped over her gown and tumbled into the chair with a thump. The fairies gasped. "Oh, my stars!" Flora exclaimed. Sofia giggled. "I guess I still need practice." Fauna smiled kindly. "That's quite all right, dear. The best lessons often come with little spills." When the lesson ended, Sofia walked down the hallway with renewed determination. She might not be perfect yet, but she was learning. That afternoon, she joined her family for the royal luncheon. The Duke and Duchess were elegant, tall, and rather serious. Sofia sat carefully, remembering her lessons, napkin on lap, back straight, smile warm. But when the Duke's spoon accidentally fell, Sofia instinctively picked it up and handed it to him with a kind smile. "Here you go, sir." The Duke blinked, surprised. "Why, thank you, young princess." Amber whispered. "Sofia, princesses don't touch drop spoons." But Queen Miranda leaned closer and said softly, "Maybe not, but kindness is always proper." Sofia's smile grew brighter. As the luncheon went on, everyone noticed the lightness Sofia brought to the room. Her laughter filled the air. Her words were gentle, and though she made one or two tiny mistakes, the Duchess smiled and said, "Such a charming young princess, truly royal at heart." That night, Sofia sat by her window, looking out at the moonlit courtyard. "Maybe royal manners aren't just about rules," she whispered. "Maybe they're about doing what's right with kindness." Her amulet shimmered softly, as if agreeing. Dizzy. The next morning in Enchancia Castle began with the soft sound of harps playing in the distance. Sofia awoke with a flutter of excitement and a touch of nerves. Today wasn't just another lesson. Today, She would face her first royal table test, a formal dining rehearsal organized by Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. She brushed her hair, adjusted her lavender tiara, and took a deep breath. "I can do this," she whispered to her reflection. "It's just a meal, a really, really fancy meal." Downstairs in the banquet hall, the long dining table was already set. Sparkling goblets, golden plates, and folded napkins shaped like swans lined the table in perfect order. Each seat was marked with a name card written in glittering ink. At the center of it all stood the 3 fairy headmistresses, smiling proudly. "Welcome, Princess Sofia." Flora said, "Today's test will teach you everything about royal dining etiquette." "Remember," Merryweather added, wagging her wand for emphasis, "no elbows on the table, no talking with your mouth full, and never, ever use the dessert spoon before the main course." Sofia nodded, determined to do her best. Soon, her family arrived to join the lesson. King Roland, Queen Miranda, Amber, and James. Amber looked radiant as always, her hair perfectly curled. "This should be interesting," she said with a little grin. "Let's see if my sister can pass the royal table test." Sofia sat down gracefully. At least, she tried to. Her chair creaked as she slid in. Her napkin slipped off her lap, and her fork clinked against her plate a little too loudly. Amber raised an eyebrow. Sofia smiled nervously and adjusted her napkin again. "Just a small startup wobble," she said softly. Flora waved her wand, and the feast appeared, bowls of soup, golden rolls, roast vegetables, and sparkling cider. Everything looked delicious. Sofia's stomach growled quietly, but she focused. "Now, Sofia," Fauna said gently, "what is the first rule of royal dining?" Sofia thought hard. "Never start eating until everyone has been served?" Flora beamed. "Excellent." As everyone's plates were filled, Sofia carefully picked up her spoon, remembering Merryweather's words. She leaned in to take a small sip of her soup. But just as she did, James cracked a joke about knights slipping on banana peels. Sofia snorted with laughter and accidentally blew bubbles in her soup. "Blorp!" Amber gasped. "Sofia." Everyone paused. Sofia's cheeks turned bright red. "I didn't mean to. It was the joke." King Roland chuckled kindly. "Happens to the best of us." But Sofia could feel her confidence slipping. She tried to focus on her meal again, carefully cutting her vegetables and using the right fork this time. Everything seemed to be going smoothly until Cedric appeared. The royal sorcerer peeked into the hall, waving his wand nervously. Your Majesties, I may have accidentally enchanted the pudding." Before anyone could ask, a large silver pudding bowl began to bounce down the table, wobbling like jelly on springs. Everyone gasped as it flung spoonfuls of pudding into the air. "Duck!" James shouted. Sofia jumped up and reached for her wand. "I'll fix it," she cried. She concentrated, whispered a spell she'd learned from Cedric, and with a soft flash of pink light, the pudding froze midair and landed neatly back in the bowl. Everyone stared in stunned silence. Then Queen Miranda smiled proudly. "Well done, Sofia." Flora clapped her hands. "Excellent composure, my dear." A true princess keeps calm in any situation. Amber sighed, clearly impressed. "Okay, maybe that was pretty good." Sofia giggled. "Guess I passed the test, even if it turned into a pudding adventure." Later that evening, as the candles flickered and the family enjoyed dessert, this time safely on their plates, Sofia leaned closer to her mother and whispered, "Maybe good manners aren't about being perfect. Maybe they're about staying calm and kind, even when things go wrong." Queen Miranda smiled softly. "Exactly, sweetheart. True grace shines brightest in messy moments." As the night ended, Sofia walked to the quiet corridors, her amulet glowing faintly. She smiled to herself and said, "Maybe I'm learning royal etiquette one magical mess at a time." The castle lights dimmed, and far above, the stars sparkled over Enchancia, bright, proud, and just a little bit mischievous, like the princess below, Dizzy. The castle gardens of Enchancia were in full bloom that afternoon, the air sweet with the scent of lilacs and songbirds chirping in the trees. Princess Sofia was setting the table for her very first royal tea party. a test of her growing etiquette skills, and a chance to prove that she could host like a true princess. She adjusted the lace cloth, placed tiny rose-patterned cups on each saucer, and lined up the pastries in perfect order. "Everything has to be just right," she told Clover, her talking bunny, who was busy sniffing the sugar cubes. Clover tilted his head. Right, but what about snacks or bunnies?" Sofia giggled. "Maybe later. Today is about tea, not carrots." From the palace windows, Queen Miranda watched her daughter with a proud smile. "She's really putting her heart into this," she said to Bailiwick. "Yes, Your Majesty," Bailiwick agreed, holding a tray of extra cups. "Though I do hope she remembers not to fill the teacups too high this time." As the royal guests began to arrive, Princess Hildegard, Princess Cleo, and of course, Amber, Sofia's heart fluttered with excitement. Amber glided across the garden, her gown shimmering in the sunlight. "So," she said, glancing around, "this is your first tea party as hostess? How delightful." Sofia smiled warmly. "Thanks, Amber. I hope everyone has fun." Hildegard grinned. "Oh, I'm sure it'll be lovely, Sofia. You always make things special." That made Sofia's heart glow a little brighter. She poured tea carefully, remembering her lessons. No spills, no slurps, and a gentle smile at all times. For the first few minutes, everything went perfectly. The girls chatted about their latest classes at Royal Prep, the newest fashion designs in Dunwoody, and even the rumor of a unicorn sighting near the castle woods. Then, a curious breeze swept through the garden. The teapot wobbled. One sugar cube tumbled off the spoon and plop, landed right in Amber's teacup. Amber gasped. "Sofia, that's far too much sugar." "Oh, I'm sorry," Sofia said, quickly reaching for the teacup. But as she did, Clover hopped onto the table, chasing a butterfly. His paw knocked into the cream pitcher, which tipped over, spilling across the tablecloth like a tiny waterfall. The girls squealed as the milk spread across the plates. "Clover," Sofia groaned. Clover's ears drooped. "Whoops, didn't mean to cause a dairy disaster." For a moment, everything seemed to fall apart. Amber frowned. The tablecloth was a mess, and the tea party, Sofia's big chance, was ruined. But then Sofia took a deep breath. "Okay," she said softly, "I can fix this." She quickly stood up, lifting the teapot with care and smiling at her guests. "Accidents happen, especially when bunnies are around. Let's start over." Her cheerful tone melted the tension. Hildegard giggled, Cleo smiled, and even Amber tried not to laugh as Clover sheepishly brought Sofia a napkin. Together, they cleaned up the spill, refilled the teacups, and began again. This time, Sofia kept the conversation light and joyful. She asked Hildegard about her new harp lessons and complimented Amber's hair ribbon. Soon, laughter filled the garden again. The mess no longer mattered. The kindness did. By the end of the tea party, everyone was smiling. Hildegard raised her cup. "To Princess Sofia, the kindest hostess in Enchancia." Sofia blushed. "Thanks. I think the secret is, it's not about perfection. It's about making everyone feel welcome." Amber nodded thoughtfully. "You know, that's actually true. Maybe royal etiquette isn't just about rules." When the guests left, Sofia sat on the garden bench, looking at the setting sun. Her amulet shimmered softly as a warm wind brushed her cheeks. She whispered, "Being royal isn't about never making mistakes. It's about how you handle them." Clover hopped beside her. "And maybe about keeping the bunnies off the table next time." Sofia laughed. "That too." As the last golden rays of sunlight glowed over the castle, Sofia felt lighter and a little more confident. Each lesson, each spill, each laugh, they were all part of her journey to becoming the princess she was meant to be. Dizzy. The ballroom of Enchancia Castle shimmered under hundreds of twinkling chandeliers. Silken drapes cascaded from the walls, and a soft melody echoed from the royal orchestra as they tuned their violins. Tonight was a special night, the royal spring ball, and Princess Sofia was expected to dance before the court for the very first time. Sofia stood before the mirror in her lilac gown, her amulet glowing faintly at her neck. "I can do this," she whispered. I just have to remember the steps and keep my balance. Amber peeked in, already dazzling in a glittering golden gown. Don't forget to smile, she advised. A princess must glide like a swan, not wobble like a duck. Sofia giggled nervously. I'll try my best, but the waltz is harder than it looks. Just then, Bailiwick entered, holding Sofia's dance card. Your Highness, Prince Xander will be your first partner. He's a fine dancer, but do remember, grace isn't just about how you move, it's about how you treat others. Sofia nodded, feeling the words settle in her heart. When the grand clock struck 7, the ballroom doors opened. Trumpets sounded, and the guests began to enter, noble lords, visiting royals, and young princesses from royal prep. Sofia took a deep breath as she and Amber descended the grand staircase side by side. The crowd turned, admiring their poise. Presenting Princess Sofia of Enchancia, the herald announced. Sofia curtsied gracefully, her gown flowing like lavender mist. Prince Xander stepped forward with a friendly smile. Ready to dance, Princess Sofia? She smiled shyly. As ready as I'll ever be. The music began. Sofia placed her hand in Xander's and followed his lead. Step, turn, glide, step, turn, glide. For the first few moments, everything went smoothly. Her steps were light, her heart calm. But then, as they turned near the edge of the ballroom, Sofia's slipper brushed the hem of her gown, and she stumbled. Gasps echoed through the hall. For a split second, Sofia froze. Her cheeks flushed pink, her heart sank. But before embarrassment could settle, Xander smiled kindly and whispered, It's okay. Let's just keep dancing. Sofia exhaled. She straightened her shoulders, smiled, and continued, this time slower, steadier, letting the rhythm carry her instead of forcing it. Soon, the awkward stumble faded, replaced by grace and laughter. Amber watched from the sidelines, slightly surprised and secretly proud. After the song ended, Xander bowed. You did wonderful, Sofia. Most princesses would have run off after tripping. Sofia curtsied with a genuine smile. Thank you. I think being graceful isn't just about how you move. It's how you stay kind and calm when things don't go perfectly. Later that evening, the dancing ended and the guests gathered for dessert. Sofia noticed one of the kitchen maids struggling with a heavy tray of cupcakes near the door. Without hesitation, she hurried over and helped her carry it to the table. The maid gasped softly. Oh, Princess Sofia, you didn't have to. It's okay, Sofia said cheerfully. Being royal means helping when you can, right? Amber, who had seen the exchange, walked over, a fond smile touching her lips. You know, Sofia, I think you just taught me something tonight. Sofia tilted her head. Really? What's that? Amber sighed softly. Grace isn't just about dancing or posture. It's about gratitude, being thankful and kind to everyone, no matter who they are. Sofia's eyes sparkled. Exactly. That night, as the ballroom lights dimmed and the guests began to leave, Sofia stood by the window, watching the stars. Her amulet shimmered, reflecting the light of the moon. She thought about all she had learned so far, honesty, kindness, and now, grace. Each lesson wasn't just about being a princess on the outside, but about growing gentle and good on the inside. Clover hopped up beside her, munching on a leftover cupcake. So, princess, he said between bites, what's the next royal lesson? Maybe how to dance without stepping on your partner's paws. Sofia giggled. Maybe, but I think the next lesson might be about something even more important. How to listen and understand others. As the night sky twinkled over Enchancia, Sofia smiled, feeling that with every step, even the wobbly ones, she was learning what being a true princess really meant. Crescent moon dizzy. Morning sunlight streamed to the tall windows of Enchancia Castle, bathing Sofia's room in a warm golden glow. She stretched, feeling peaceful after the royal spring ball the night before. Clover was snoring softly at the foot of her bed. Crumbs of last night's cupcake still stuck to his fur. Sofia giggled, brushing him off gently. Wake up, Clover. We got another big day ahead. He yawned. Another royal lesson? Let me guess, how to balance teacups on your head while smiling. Sofia laughed. Not this time. Miss Flora said today's lesson at Royal Prep is all about listening. How a princess understands the hearts of others. Clover tilted his ears. Listening? Sounds easy enough. You just listen. Sofia smiled knowingly. You'll see, Clover. It's harder than it sounds. At Royal Prep, Headmistress Flora gathered the princesses and princes in the grand classroom. Today's lesson, she began, is not about manners or music. It's about empathy. A good ruler doesn't just speak. She listens. To her people, her friends, and even her heart. The students looked thoughtful. Sofia, Amber, James, and Princess Hildegard all sat in a circle, ready for an activity. Each of you, Miss Flora continued, will share something that's been on your mind, and the others must listen, without interrupting or judging. Sofia raised her hand eagerly. I'll go first. She took a breath. Sometimes, I feel like I still don't fit perfectly into royal life. Everyone seems so confident and polished, and I'm still learning. I just wish I knew if I was doing it right. Amber softened, looking at her sister with empathy. Sofia, you're doing wonderfully. You care so much about people. That's what makes you special. Before Sofia could reply, Prince James blurted out, I think I know how you feel, Sofia. Everyone expects me to be brave and adventurous, but sometimes I just want to take a break. Being a prince is a lot of pressure, too. Sofia turned to him, her voice gentle. I didn't know you felt that way, James. I guess I never really stopped to listen. Miss Flora smiled. That's the magic of listening, dear. It opens doors of understanding. Next was Princess Hildegard. She sighed dramatically. I suppose my problem is that I feel invisible next to Amber. Everyone admires her style, her grace, her confidence. I just can't seem to shine like she does. Amber blinked, caught off guard. Hildegard, I didn't realize you felt that way. Hildegard looked away. It's fine. You're just you. Sofia gently placed her hand on Hildegard's. You don't have to be like anyone else. You're already wonderful as you are. You just have to let people see you. The room fell silent for a moment. Then Amber smiled shyly. You know what? I think I need to listen more too. Maybe I've been too focused on myself lately. Miss Flora nodded approvingly. Now that is the heart of this lesson. True listening changes hearts, not just minds. Later that afternoon, as Sofia walked back to the castle garden, she spotted Bailiwick kneeling by a patch of wilted roses. He looked worried. Bailiwick, are the flowers okay? She asked softly. He sighed. The roses are fading, Princess Sofia. I've been trying to care for them, but they won't bloom like they used to. Sofia knelt beside him, touching one of the drooping petals. Maybe they need more sunlight. Or maybe, she paused, listening to the rustle of the leaves and the gentle hum of the bees nearby. Maybe they just need a little time and patience. Bailiwick smiled warmly. You have quite the wise heart, Princess. You listen not only to people, but to nature too. Sofia blushed. I think that's what Miss Flora meant. Listening isn't just with your ears. It's with your heart. That evening, as the sky turned pink and lavender, Sofia sat by her window, writing in her royal journal. Today, she wrote, I learned that being a princess isn't just about speaking kindly or dancing gracefully. It's about truly hearing others, even when they don't say a word. Because sometimes the quietest voices say the most. Clover hopped up beside her, nibbling a carrot. So, Princess, what's tomorrow's royal adventure? Sofia smiled softly. Tomorrow, Clover, I think it's time to learn about forgiveness. Because even when we listen, we sometimes still make mistakes. And that's okay, as long as we can say sorry. As the stars twinkled over Enchancia, the young princess felt her heart glow with understanding. Step by step, lesson by lesson, she was growing not just into a royal, but into a kind, compassionate soul who truly heard the world around her. Crescent moon sparkles. The next morning in Enchancia dawned softly, the castle glowing under the golden sun. Sofia stretched and took a deep breath of fresh spring air. Today feels peaceful, she said to Clover, who was already munching on a strawberry tart. Clover grinned. Peaceful, huh? That usually means something's about to happen. Sofia chuckled. You might be right, but today's royal prep lesson is about forgiveness. I think I'm ready for it. Clover tilted his ears. Forgiveness? Sounds tricky. You mean saying sorry and all that? Sophia nodded. It's more than saying sorry, Clover. It's about understanding others and letting go, even when it's hard. At Royal Prep, the atmosphere was a bit tense. The students gathered in the great hall where Miss Flora, Fauna, and Merriweather stood waiting. Class, Miss Flora began. Today's lesson is one of the hardest a princess or prince can learn. Forgiveness. There is no crown more beautiful than a heart that forgives. Sophia listened carefully, feeling something stir inside her. Forgiveness sounded simple, but she knew it wasn't always easy. Miss Merriweather smiled gently. You'll be working in pairs today, each with someone you've had a disagreement with in the past. You'll talk about what happened and find a way to forgive. Sophia's eyes widened when she saw who she'd been paired with. Princess Hildegard. Oh, Sophia said softly. Hi, Hildegard. Hildegard crossed her arms. Hello, Sophia. I suppose we're partners. It wasn't that they disliked each other, but a few days ago, during dance practice, Sophia had accidentally stepped on Hildegard's dress and torn the hem. Hildegard had been upset, and Sophia never quite got the chance to apologize properly. The two sat down at a small rosewood table in the corner of the room. So, Hildegard began, about the dance rehearsal. Sophia immediately nodded. I'm really sorry, Hildegard. I didn't mean to rip your gown. I should have been more careful. Hildegard sighed, her posture softening a little. It wasn't just a gown, Sophia. I worked so hard to get everything right. The dance, the outfit, everything. When it tore, I felt like all my effort went to waste. Sophia bit her lip. I understand. I guess I was so focused on the steps. I didn't see how important it was to you. I'm really sorry, Hildegard. Hildegard looked at her for a moment, then smiled faintly. You really mean that, don't you? Of course, Sophia said sincerely. You're my friend, and friends forgive each other, right? Hildegard let out a small laugh. Right. I forgive you, Sophia. They both smiled, and something warm and light seemed to fill the space between them. Miss Flora clapped her hands. Beautiful girls. Forgiveness restores balance, just as kindness restores peace. Later that afternoon, Sophia returned to the castle feeling lighter than she had in days. As she walked to the hallways, she saw James standing in front of his toy chest, frowning. Everything okay? Sophia asked. James sighed. I borrowed your quill for my map project, but it broke. I was going to replace it before you noticed. Sophia blinked in surprise, then laughed gently. Oh, James, that's okay. It was just a quill. James looked puzzled. You're not mad? No, Sophia said softly. Forgiving you is much easier than staying upset. I've learned that forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about caring more about the person than the mistake. James smiled in relief. You really are the best sister. Sophia grinned. You're not so bad yourself. That evening, as the royal family gathered for dinner, King Roland shared a thoughtful smile with his daughter. Sophia, you seem especially happy today. Did something good happen at Royal Prep? Yes, Sophia said, her eyes twinkling. I learned that forgiveness can heal hearts, and sometimes that's even stronger than magic. Queen Miranda nodded proudly. That's a beautiful lesson, sweetheart. Even grown-ups sometimes forget how powerful forgiveness can be. As dinner continued, Sophia couldn't help but feel grateful for the day's lessons. Every time she learned something new about kindness or grace, it wasn't just about being a better princess. It was about being a better person. Later that night, Sophia stood on her balcony, gazing at the moonlit gardens below. Clover hopped up beside her. So, Princess, he said with a grin, what's next on your royal guidebook? Sophia smiled softly. Tomorrow's lesson is about leadership, how to guide others with kindness and courage. Clover yawned. Sounds like a big one. Think you're ready? Sophia looked up at the stars, her amulet glowing faintly around her neck. I think so, because leading others starts with understanding yourself, and I'm learning more about that every day. The night air shimmered with calm, and as Sophia closed her eyes, she whispered, Forgiveness makes space for love, and that's the truest magic of all. crescent moon dizzy. The morning sun sparkled over Enchancia Castle, casting golden rays across Sofia's balcony. She stretched, feeling refreshed and inspired after the lessons she had learned. Kindness, patience, forgiveness, and now leadership. Today's royal prep lesson would be her final chapter in Sofia's guide to royal etiquette, and Miss Flora had said it would be a true test of character. Clover munched on a blueberry muffin and asked, "So what's today's royal wisdom, princess?" Sofia smiled, brushing her amulet. "Leadership. Miss Flora says a good princess must lead with courage and kindness, not by giving orders, but by giving hope." Clover squinted. "Hope, huh? Sounds a lot harder than giving orders." Sofia giggled. "It is, but I think I'm ready." At royal prep, the courtyard buzzed with excitement. The students stood in groups, chattering eagerly as banners fluttered in the breeze. Miss Flora floated to the center, her wand sparkling. "Good morning, class. Today, we will put all your lessons into practice. Each group will face a royal challenge that requires teamwork, patience, and leadership." Sofia's eyes brightened. "What kind of challenge?" Miss Fauna smiled. "You'll discover that soon enough. Princess Sofia, since you've shown great compassion this term, you will lead the first group." Sofia looked surprised but proud. "Yes, ma'am." Her group consisted of Amber, James, Hildegard, and 2 younger students, Princess Carrie and Prince Desmond. Miss Flora handed them a scroll tied with a blue ribbon. Sofia untied it and read aloud. "Your task: rebuild the enchanted bridge that links the royal gardens to the Meadow of Harmony. It has fallen, and only through unity will it rise again." Amber gasped. "That bridge is huge. How are we supposed to rebuild it?" Sofia looked at her sister gently. Together, when they arrived at the broken bridge, they found the planks scattered and vines tangled around the railings. The magical crystals that powered the bridge's glow had dimmed. Hildegard groaned. "This looks impossible." James crossed his arms. "We just need to figure out where to start." Carrie knelt by a broken crystal. "Maybe if we clean and reconnect them, the magic will come back." Desmond nodded. "And I can fetch tools from the supply tent." Sofia smiled proudly. "Perfect ideas, both of you. Let's start with what we can do." Amber hesitated. "But, Sofia, shouldn't you give orders? You're the leader." Sofia shook her head. "A good leader listens and helps everyone shine. Let's work as a team." They divided the tasks. James and Desmond lifted the fallen beams. Hildegard and Amber cleared the vines, and Sofia helped Carrie polish the crystals until they gleamed. But as the afternoon wore on, the team grew tired. One of the beams cracked under pressure, and James groaned in frustration. "We'll never finish this." Sofia placed a hand on his shoulder. "We can, if we don't give up. Remember, courage isn't about never being scared or tired. It's about trying again, even when it's hard." Her calm, steady voice reignited the group's determination. Together, they repaired the structure piece by piece, their teamwork stronger than any spell. When Sofia placed the last glowing crystal in the bridge's center, the air shimmered. The magic spread through the wood like rippling light, and the bridge restored itself, glowing softly in rainbow hues. Amber gasped. "It's beautiful." Miss Flora and Miss Fauna appeared, smiling proudly. "Well done, Princess Sofia," Miss Flora said. "You led not with command, but with care. That is the mark of a true royal." Sofia smiled humbly. "I just followed what I've learned. Kindness, patience, forgiveness, and listening. They all lead to courage." Later that evening, back at the castle, King Roland called Sofia to the throne room. "I heard about your work at Royal Prep today," he said warmly. "Your teachers are proud of you, and so am I. You've learned that true leadership doesn't come from authority, but from heart." Queen Miranda nodded with a smile. "You remind me of what I've always believed, that kindness is a crown that never fades." Sofia blushed. "Thank you. I'm just trying to do my best, like you both do every day." Roland placed his hand on her shoulder. "And that's exactly why you'll make a wonderful queen someday." That night, Sofia sat on her balcony under the starlit sky, her amulet glowing softly around her neck. Clover hopped beside her, munching the last muffin crumb. "So, Princess," he asked, "does this mean your royal lessons are over?" Sophia smiled. Not really. The lessons never end, Clover. Every day brings a new one, and I want to keep learning. She gazed up at the moon. Leadership isn't about being the best. It's about bringing out the best in others. And that's something I'll keep practicing my whole life. As the wind whispered through gardens, Sophia closed her eyes and whispered, I'm proud to be me, Sophia, the princess who leads with kindness and courage. And somewhere in the distance, the bridge glowed softly under moonlight, a reminder that unity and love were the truest royal magic of all. Crescent moon's sparkling heart,